Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Great Engine game series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we're taking a look at a stunning game played between Leela-Ethereal and Ethereal at the TCEC Season 25 Division P. So how did this one come about? It was a really nice hack in the modern. So the opening that Jeroen gave to us was this one: d4, d6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop e3, a6, h3 now, and this is quite a powerful little move for white. It's very flexible. I mean, you might just play a quiet system with knight f3, or you might play a system with f4, or you might even play g4 quickly and then bishop g2, knight e2. All sorts of systems you can transpose in, and it's quite hard for black really to pick out the move that fits against everything really. So it's a very unpleasant idea for black. Bishop g7, now f4, a sort of Austrian attack, but well, this move h3 prevents black from putting anything on g4, and black's already committed itself to a6, which might not always be the plan you want to play against the Austrian attack. So castles, knight f3, knight c6. I think the TCEC book ended around here, I think. Knight c6. I once got hit by knight c6 by Ivanchuk in a game, and that was supposed to be a really good line. Here, this is not proving so effective, or maybe I just didn't react very well against Ivanchuk. White plays the move e5, and well, e5 is very powerful in principle when black's played a knight on c6, because black's no longer got c5, and also, yeah, I mean, you know, black's often got counterplay with b5, but then you follow up with c5 afterwards. This knight is simply in the way, so this could be a little bit awkward for black. And after knight d7, actually Leela takes this a step further. Dragon MCTS, and not I'm running that on my slightly less powerful machine just for the sheer hell of it. It's a little bit more sedate than normal Dragon. It was playing something very quiet. Bishop e2, knight b6, and well, either queen d2 or bishop f2, simply just getting those bishops out of the way. It's not bad, but you know, Stockfish managed to sort of neutralize everything with takes and f6. Actually, Stockfish once did something very similar to this against Leela in one of my lines, to neutralize one of my lines in the super final. So yeah, this is a little bit sedate. What Leela did is very nice. A3, and it sort of fits into to this to what I'm saying about restricting this knight on c6, making it more difficult for black to get, you know, some sort of counterplay with c5. So yeah, you're taking b4 away from the black knight. And why is that important? Well, after b5 we play bishop d3. We get the bishop to its most aggressive square, pointing this way, also giving the idea of bishop e4, and we're not allowing black to free the knight with knight b4. Now there are a few ideas. Knight b6 was what Stockfish was coming up with in my games. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, black is going to play the move b4 to try and get a little bit of counterplay at least. But yeah, I mean, at least the way that it was working there was that white wasn't going to get the knight into d5 as in the game. But knight a5 was another major line here, you know, just and this is what Ethereal played in the game, and I think also what Koivisto had played earlier in an earlier game against Leela as well. Knight a5, just getting the knight out of the way, preparing to go c5, maybe get in knight c4, maybe get in bishop b7, but it's really all about trying to get some counterplay quickly. Queen e2 from Leela, and that's a very nice flexible move. I mean, white might want to castle queenside at some stage, maybe want to castle kingside, maybe it's not necessary, maybe we're just going to start coming in with the pieces. It's just a very nice flexible move. Also, yeah, covers the c4 square as well, defends the bishop on e3 against knight c4. Well, c5, only one move really that black wants to play here, and now the move bishop e4, which is quite nice. I mean, if you go dc, Black's going to go bishop b7, not at all concerned about sacrificing some pawns, getting some open lines, anything for counterplay really. So playing bishop e4 right now is quite nice, because if you go bishop b7, then well, I'm just going to take off on here, and you're just kind of passive really. This knight has not done anything at all. It's not at all helping in this sort of fight basically. So bishop e4 is a nice move to throw in there. So rook b8 played. Yeah, the engines were quite keen. Well, Stockfish was quite keen on throwing this sort of thing in. Oh no, what's it? Dragon was doing this all the time, which does look quite sensible to me, I have to say. You're going to get crushed on the king side if you're not quick. So it's quite good to open some lines, get a weak pawn to aim at, and after h4, b4 takes. The fact that you've taken on d4, brought the bishop to d4, it also gives you some threats like this. It looked quite fraught, really. I mean, castles, knight c4, b3, queen a5, is possible. We're threatening queen a1 check or queen a3. bc4, knight b6. It looked like a decent sort of punt for counterplay, but yeah, I mean, obviously Stockfish managed to deal with this without too many problems and scored the win. But this sort of play felt kind of more like modern-like. If I was for a human player, not bad at all. Ethereal played rook b8, and now Leela played h4. Funnily enough, h4 was Stockfish's move on my hardware anyway. When it was looking at the position from afar, as it got closer, Stockfish got rather keen on this move that Dragon MCTS wanted, actually, just playing like this. So the sort of the smooth positional option really, but I don't know. I'm not sure really. Yeah, I mean white is obviously better here. I mean these pawns restrict the bishop. Very nice centralization. This knight is offside, but yeah, it's h4. h4 is h4, right? That's what we like. So if you go knight c4, I'm just ignoring you completely. It doesn't make any difference at all, really. So that's not good. So Ethereal played the move b4, just really trying to get, stuff moving on the queen side. And we've got ideas like c takes b4, rook b2, knight c4, all that sort of stuff. Black's launched basically. Very nice little idea now. Knight d5, hitting the rook. Rook takes b2, and now bishop c1. Kind of important to do that. If you go h5, I go knight b3, exploiting this pin. And, well, it's pretty sharp, but the engines seem to think that they get away with it. Just show you a couple of games. This was Dragon MCTS doing this. Knight takes a1, hg, rook b1, 2 rooks taken, takes, ed, dc, which was... yeah, sort of okay, but nothing special for white there. So yeah, that wasn't particularly great. Stockfish's white played hg, rook d1, bishop b7, queen f2. This looks horrific, to be honest. But black's got just enough to sort of hold on, really. e6 stops the queen from coming to h4. f5, bishop d5, bishop g5, again blocking the queen's access. So we're looking for queen h4. Bishop takes e4, offering the queen h4, and then f6. Yeah, crazy positions. Check, ed, bishop f6, queen f7, knight check, queen g7. Takes, castles, bishop f5, holding on. Takes, e takes d6. The craziness is continuing, but, well, you can imagine it's got the little feel of a draw by repetition there, doesn't it? I mean, you could already do it with knight g5. The game continued. Let's just finish it off. Knight g5, d8 queen, check, knight h3, rook b6, covering everything. Queen e5, rook bf6. Oh, actually, look at this. Stockfish actually beat Dragon this way. Queen d e7. I thought this game had ended in a draw. Knight f4, rook d7, knight takes h3, queen h5. Offer the exchange of queens when you're got 2 queens against 1. Takes, queen e8, queen f7, and mate. Crazy game. So yeah, yeah, who knows? Who knows really? But yeah, I mean, knight b3 was definitely giving giving black some more play there. So bishop c1 is a really clever idea. So you just chase the rook back, and now you play h5, and there's black's counterplay with knight b3 just isn't arriving, and this knight on a5 remains here as a target. And that's really, again, that's really, really good somehow. And the fact that black's created this counterplay on b4, it's activated this white rook on a1, attacking the knight on a5. Actually, it's also able to swing over here. So not looking that great for black. So e6 played, h takes g6, and now h takes g6. Yeah, if you go e d5, I just take and go bishop d5, and I've got bishop f7s and knight g5s coming in. So this is all just total carnage basically. F takes g6, we've actually got this nice move f5, and we're just intending bishop g5 and then knight e7 check, and just totally gone basically. I mean, nothing you can do about this. So h takes g6 played, and the point is if f5 e d5, then bishop takes d5 is not arriving with check. That's the big difference. So you can you've got a few desperado sacrifices just to open stuff up. We're coming with bishop f5 later. Should be able to just about survive that, even though it's pretty fraught obviously still for black. Now stuff like this knight on a5 is loose, but we get some chances for counterplay as well. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at all sorts of things. I mean, I was also looking at g4, for example, with the idea of rook e8, queen h2. That's to get in queen h7. But, well, the engines seem to think that they can just about capture everything, really, and sort of vaguely escape here. Queen h5, rook e7, rook f1, knight f6, d, bishop g4, takes. Just about surviving. I mean, the tactics just keep on continuing, but it just looks just about okay for black. There's actually, I think, a line of stockfishes, I think. Rook d5, rook b1, takes, and black's got just enough to hold there. A couple of pawns for the exchange. So, I mean, white's got, just so many dangerous things. I think your chances of, defending this as black is entirely reliant on the opponent getting confused. But Leela didn't want any of those adventures. No f5, no g4, just knight e3 here. And, I mean, you're keeping all those options in reserve. And, this knight can also head out to g4. And that's exactly what it did. Because after bishop b7, knight g4 was played. So I think that Koivisto in the previous game played bishop e4 in this position, but queen takes e4, I think wasn't there something crazy happening here? Knight c4, queen g1, yeah, quite amazing really. You take on e4 and then you bring the queen back here, but we're coming round to h2 here. So f6, knight h6 played, queen a8, king f2, and queen h2. Rook h7. Oh, this was Dragon against Stockfish. I was very impressed with this game of dragons because it's just basically with only queen and rook, you're just sort of forcing your way through all the way. Actually, only queen and rook, but this rook is also able to come into play here, which is quite nasty. Knight d7, queen g7, rook b7, rook a8, rook takes f8, and it would have all gone horribly wrong for Stockfish. So, I mean, loads of very powerful ways of playing here. Ethereal played a novelty, which is also looked at by quite a few of the engines, just queen b6, bishop b7, rook b7, and now queen f2, and the queen's coming round to h4. Rook fb8, not great tripling of pieces on the b file, but the idea is to let the king escape there. So queen h4, king f8, and then now a couple of moves that took me by surprise. Well, I mean, d5, fair enough, it looks like a randomly good attacking move really. But after e takes d5, this move was really nice because, everything's really looked like it's all about attacking on the h-file. But now Leela just plays castles, and it turns out, okay, we're pretty sure, knight c4, queen h7, that this is the maximum that we get from the h-file. Now we're going to start looking to open the f-file, and, bishop h6 is going to come in, knight g5. Just, incredible flexibility really, just the flexibility of attacking angle. Just a lot of effort put into opening that h-file. and but now we achieve a certain amount, and then we're going to open the F file, and so D takes C5. Actually, unfortunately for Ethereal, it's got to play this move to try and get the queen to defend, but yeah, that's also just opening up the F file for white. And after G5, I thought this move was really gorgeous, just knight H4. Oh. Obviously, we're just piling through here now. We've got moves like bishop H6 coming in if you take. I think bishop H6 is just completely winning there. So you've got all sorts of moves there that are coming in, and yeah, knight H4 just opening up the F file. So knight D takes C5 was played by Ethereal. Takes, swapping off pieces, and bishop G5. Leela not doing anything complicated now, just bishop stops the queen from coming to H6, and we've got moves like knight F5 coming in as well. C4 check, king H1, queen E6, and then I like this move as well, rook E1, just bringing all the pieces into play, attacking that knight on E5, and we're pretty ready really for things to start disintegrating, and knight F5 was how Leela decided to do it. Queen G6 and queen H4. I mean, you could take on G7 and just win a piece, but why bother? Queen H4, we've got threats of knight G7, of bishop E7 check here as well, of rook takes C5, also very strong. It's just, yeah, really, really difficult. Yeah, king G8, as I said, I'll just take on G7, and then E5 is hanging. So rook B6 was played. Actually, the idea is that I think if knight G7, you could maybe play queen G7. You've no longer got bishop H6 there, but now rook E5 happens. Takes and bishop H6 check, and this is incredibly unpleasant. This move, rook B6, covered the third rank, but unprotected the second rank. So what it means is that if you go to E8, I go queen E7 checkmate, and if you go to G8, I go knight E7 checkmate. Not checkmate, but knight E7 forking king and queen. So the only move was to play was takes and F6, but well, you're quite a bit down, aren't you? Queen for rook basically, and after G4, followed by G5 and knight G4 and stuff like that. Yeah, Ethereal was completely lost. Just show you a couple more moves. GF, F7, and yeah, I think Ethereal had stopped believing in it long ago, and Leela too as well. Really nice game, that one. I liked it very much indeed. I mean, obviously the opening is very good for white, but some nice touches. You know, this A3 restricting the knight on C6 I thought was really lovely. I like very much, you know, this well, you know, the directness of the attack, and yeah, this move bishop C1 I thought was very nice. Just you know, a little bit of attention to detail, just to slow down the black attack. I mean, it might well be that H5 can work as well, but you know, why give yourself all that stress when a nice little retreating move like that just pushes the black pieces back. And yeah, what I particularly liked was just this nice calm build up. You know, you make the most of the H file and attacking channel, and then you switch to another one. You know, so much more powerful than just trying you know, whatever the cost to try and hammer through, you know, on one attacking line. You know, just try and use everything that you've got. And this was really, really nice. And yeah, you know, moves like knight H4, always very, very visual, of course. Very, 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 very nice indeed. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed that game. A lovely tactical attacking win by Leela. Do stay tuned on this channel. Got lots more engine games coming. Of course, the super final to come. We've probably got a challenger playoff between Leela and Torch at the CCC in the Rapid. And well, I don't know who's going to get to play Stockfish in the end, but could be Leela, could be Torch. They look very, very close at this time control. Maybe Leela's got a slight edge, who knows. Possibly some updates of Torch to come, I imagine. But yeah, if you like the video, give a like, subscribe to the channel, take a look at my new books, and otherwise, you know, keep your eyes peeled for lots more videos. Thanks for watching.